Sports Illustrated calls Roger Crawford one of the most accomplished, physically challenged athletes in history. For over 30 years, Roger has inspired, informed, and impacted worldwide. Please welcome CPAE Roger Crawford.
Let me tell you how I got this tie. A few years ago, my cherished friend Don Hudson asked me to come to Memphis, Tennessee and speak at his Prosperity Series. Of course, as you well know, Don is a legend in our business. He gave me an extraordinary introduction, and as he was leaving the stage, I said, "Don, thank you for those kind words, and by the way, I love that tie." He stops, flips his collar up, takes his tie off, and hands it to me. Now, during this meeting, Don Hudson was awarded the NSA Philanthropist of the Year. Congratulations, Don. And by the way, I really love that tie you were wearing that evening. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's just a clever way of getting a free tie. No, it's not. I just wanted to give Don an opportunity to demonstrate his giving spirit. That's what friends do. But you know, Don, you demonstrated that spirit this morning when I was unable to tie my tie. I was riding down the escalator and I saw him. I said, "Hey, Don, do you mind tying your tie for me?" Thank you, my friend. My youngest daughter is named Alexa. She was a student at High Point University. That's right. Which means that I no longer want to speak, I have to speak. Bill Cates knows what I'm talking about. Following graduation, she got a fantastic job with a corporation in Asheville, North Carolina. And after 3 months of employment, she hired her dad to speak at their company's national sales meeting. At NSA, we call that good parenting. Yeah, that's part of the curriculum in the youth program, how to book your parents. It's great. My precious daughter also booked me another time to speak. She was in the 3rd grade. She came to me and she said, Daddy, I want you to come and speak at my school during an assembly." I was so touched that my sweet little girl would want me to come and visit her school. But I experienced some anxiety. I thought to myself, what if she's embarrassed of me? What if the kids tease Alexa about her dad? I said, "Honey, do you realize that if I stand in front of all the boys and girls, they're going to know about your daddy's hands and about his legs? Honey, I want to make sure that you feel okay with that." Here's what she said. "Daddy, you were born to be an inspirational speaker." Oh, just touched my heart. She said, "Yeah, Daddy, you got a peace sign on one hand and a thumbs up on the other." My physical challenge affects me from the elbows down and from the knees down. I'll tell you the greatest challenge today in having 3 fingers and short arms: selfies. I stretch out as far as I can. All I get, mugshots. That's it. I want to give a shout out to my beautiful wife, Catherine. We went to junior high school and high school together. We used to ride the bus. She'd save a seat for me. I was Forrest Gump, she was Jenny. We were high school sweethearts, except she didn't know it. And Thanks, honey, for reminding me every day that my heart's more important than my hands. I have 3 toes on my right foot and a partially developed lower right leg. And I was unable to walk until I was 5 years old. I can remember as a young boy wanting so desperately to be like all the other kids. I wanted to have normal hands and normal legs. Don Yeager spoke at the first day of our meeting, and he talked about Warwick Dunn's mom. When you heard that story, did you think about your mom? I thought about mine. I remember asking her, Mom, why do kids make fun of me? And my mother used to say to me, well, honey, that's just a weak person's imitation of strength. I had an audience member come to me and say, you know, Roger Crawford, I think that quote that you attributed to your mother came from Eleanor Roosevelt. I said, I'm shocked. Can't believe Eleanor Roosevelt stole that quote from my mom. My mom was my hero. In fact, I remember on the playground the kids saying, my daddy can beat up your daddy. And I used to look at them and say, that's no big deal. My mom can whip him too. My parents taught me about possibilities very early in my life. They believed that someday I'd be able to walk, and they found a doctor that amputated the bottom part of my left leg, then reconstructed my knee. So this morning, I'm wearing an artificial leg or prosthesis. I wanted to give congratulations to all the CPAEs that were given out last night. I also wanted to ask if John Cilio, if he's around, I need to talk to you. Him afterwards, if you wouldn't mind, because April 2016, someone stole my identity. Absolutely true. I thought it was hilarious. You know why? Wouldn't you like to have seen the look on the crook's face when he realized he's going to have to lop off 7 fingers and half a leg to steal my identity? He got the wrong dude, I'll tell you that. I want to tell you the most compelling introduction I've ever received. And I thought, the NSA family was really appreciate it because a lot of you have had similar experiences. I was speaking to a group, it was about 1,000 people, and prior to walking up on stage, I had a brief conversation with the meeting planner. I said, I want to make sure that you're squared away with my introduction. Well, he seemed very, very disinterested. In fact, he said to me, I do not read prepared remarks. I just like to speak off the cuff. I said, well, that's fine. He said, tell me a little bit about yourself. And why I'm telling him, I mean, he's looking at his phone. Like I said, very, very disinterested. So what he did next, I actually have this on tape, and I'm going to share this with you verbatim. He says to the audience, ladies and gentlemen, today we have Roger Crawford as our speaker. Roger Crawford was an NCAA Division I college athlete. He is in the International Tennis Hall of Fame. And then he said, Roger Crawford was born with 3 legs. Absolutely. 1,000 people were frozen. I mean, you could have heard a pin drop. They're saying to themselves, I can't wait till this guy gallops up on stage, I tell you. But my friends, the essence of my life is really not far different than your life. Part of the human experience is that all of us are going to face adversity. Real handicaps can be overcome. It's the imaginary ones in life that really disable us. One thing I want to say, speaker to speaker, I think having a personal life story, I think it's awesome. And it's going to help you till you open your mouth. Because the truth of the matter is, you're more than your story. I want you to take your story, I want you to take your experiences, and I want you to go out and share them with the world. Well, you heard that I played a little bit of tennis, and you're probably wondering, okay, Roger Crawford, how well do you play tennis? Well, during my tennis career, I played John McEnroe. That's the day I learned that a positive attitude doesn't work every time. But you know, when I was playing tennis, I got to tell you, I wasn't the most powerful. And I wasn't the fastest. You know what I learned playing tennis? If you can hit the ball over the net one more time than your opponent, you win the point. Something that I speak with audiences about, the power of consistency. It's more important than perfection. What I've learned from the greats in this business is they are first and foremost consistent. They are consistent with what they do on the platform and off. They are consistent in their preparation. They are consistent in their professionalism. You know, when I was asked to speak this morning, I have to tell you, it was very, very humbling when I looked at the lineup. And they said, "You're a legend." Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, good. I need you in all my audiences. That was really good. And I thought, legend? What about my legacy? And I asked myself this question: what do I want on my tombstone? I mean, that's a real deep question, isn't it? Here's what I want. I'd rather be speaking. That's what I want on mine. But as I thought about it further, what I'd really want on my tombstone is something that said, maybe I made a little bit of a difference. When I look around this room, I am struck by how many lives have been touched by the people in this room. How many have been inspired, have been impacted by the people in this room? You see, my friends, the greats in this business have taught me that if you want to have success that is sustained, focus on influence, not prominence. Prominence is all about us, right? It's the accolades and the awards, and certainly they're meaningful. But what drives the greats is the audience. They're not self-focused, they're audience-focused. I remember asking Lou Heckler, I said, "How do you handle nerves before you walk on the platform?" He said, "Roger, focus less on yourself and more on the audience." Kathy Buckley, didn't she give a great presentation? Really awesome. I loved it. And she told the story of her friend who was a quadriplegic. That story brought me to tears because I thought about my friend, the late, great Charlie Wiedemeyer. When I think of the word influence, Charlie comes to mind. Charlie was an awesome communicator. He was a high school football coach in Los Gatos, California, and he received this diagnosis. You have ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. Charlie lost the ability to walk and care for himself. I shared the platform with him several years ago, and I've never forgot the experience. His beautiful wife, Lucy, wheeled Charlie Wiedemeyer onto the stage. She turned his chair at an angle so he could look out into the audience and then turn back to his wife. And then Charlie started to blink, tilt his head, and nod. It was beautiful to watch. This couple had developed this unique form of communication. And Lucy would look at Charlie's face and then put those expressions into words. Charlie Wiedemeyer was the greatest speaker I never heard. There's many different ways to influence. Find your signature move, as Jason taught us. Find the uniqueness in you. Go out, my friends. Go out and be a light to people that think they're in the dark. Go out and inspire. Go out and inform. Go out and impact. Go out and influence. Thanks for having me today.